It's from Brother Principus. It says, peace. I read in the Templars and Assassins the 9 degrees of wisdom of the Ismaili order, finding it interesting that the tenets of the order are referred to as Ismailism, recognizing Islamism being encoded in it, and the initiates being given aspects of Moorish science in each degree that includes the significance of mysticism of the number 7, indeed, inferring that all imams and appointed days, again, another Moorish term, another way for saying a lesser bey, those instructed to spread the dua. Today are members initiated into this order. Indeed, Prophet Noble Jew Ali took the cover off the degree, being told the observances are meaningless and only used for social expediency. Yeah, technically that would be what would be considered as the ADOT chamber. Those people that strive to go into sheikhood, they usually go through what they call the ADOT chamber. And in the ADOT chamber is where you go through your degrees. That's not really the best way to say it. It's more of a rites of passage more than an order type thing. You know what I mean? It's not like when you go through the ADEP chamber, you have to just recite certain degrees, and you know what I mean? It's not like you go in spitting the 101s and stuff like that. It's not really like that. It's more of a welcoming into, as opposed to being initiated. You know what I mean? When you're initiated into these what they call orders or whatever, it's more like you got to go through certain ritualistic aspects of it. Whereas the ADEP is a little bit more, how do you say, familial. You know what I mean? It's not really for like how Masons got to get aprons and stuff at the end of it. That's not how you really do it. Like you have your fez before you go into that. You know what I'm saying? It's not like you got to wait to get it. Whereas in Islam, you know, that's different. You know what I mean? Islam, they have their own orders. Like one of the biggest orders in Islam is the Muslim Brotherhood, which can be traced back to, you know, Al-Mansur after he sacked the library of in Egypt, when he converted to the Muslim, the pale Arab version of Islam, right, which is different than Islamism, and started to fight against the other traditional Moors that weren't really down with that. And then you can follow that further all the way up to this Jew called the Mufti of Berlin, who actually was under Hitler. And he had dealings with different people involved with that. So, you know, there's definitely different pseudo Masonic orders in Islam, which is crazy. In the religion of Islam, excuse me. You know what I'm saying? Because Islam is our self-knowing master, as was taught by the Prophet, as well as those of us that practice and live more in science. Whereas everybody else, you know, they can compartmentalize it in the form of their Quran with a Q. That is then following the tenets of Muhammad, of Mecca in what they call Arabia, after the Reconstruction history and infusion of Roman backing into creating what we today now call the religion of Islam as we know it, ruled again by the so-called Pale Arabs under draconian law and slavery. You know what I'm saying? Like slavery is definitely still going on in Arabia against melanated people mostly from different countries. And these countries of these nationals who are enslaved by these Arabs and stuff, for some reason their people don't go and try to free them or get them out, which then means that the Arabs is most likely paying these governments to allow, once their people get there and they take their passports, that, you know, that's it. But yeah, the Templars and Assassins, that's a great book. Definitely gets into the more syncretic aspects of Islam and why the number seven is so significant to us as opposed to, you know what I'm saying, the other so-called pale Arabic factions or like red beard Muslims and them type of people, you know. That's really the issue with a lot of circumstances and a lot of people out here. They just put themselves under these different foreign versions, you know what I'm saying, of what they are told things are as opposed to what they should and most likely are truly to be, you know. Anybody have any questions or anything before we move on? It's a lot going on. I know you heard about them trying to reinstate the draft for anybody between 18 and 26, right? I heard about that. It's funny how you don't hear a lot of melanated people like railing against this or like coming out against that. They more talking about the Drake and Kendrick pop out show and all of that shit. Ain't nobody talking about the draft and how they trying to lock people into this. But you gotta understand the draft thing is just a part of the plan. Like the goal, what I look at it is they trying to make a play where they try to put Trump in jail. Then while he's in jail, they try to say that because he's in jail, he's not eligible, even though there's no law that says that because he was never tried or found guilty for insurrection. So he's still loyal, so-called, to the country, as they know. So they're gonna try to pull a Hail Mary at the end, but that ain't gonna work. So they're bringing in the illegals, so that way once they start putting the young males out, right, into the service, the only people that's left here is the illegals to basically start taking their place. This is the same thing they tried to do to us during the Spanish American War. We was away fighting that. This is when they came through with what they call the Wilmington race riots, and then started to get rid of and try to kill all of the kings and the emperors and the mayors and the alcaides and these people that was already here, you know, knocking shit down and then replacing them, you know what I mean, through forced arms and stuff. So that way, when we came back, those of us that made it back from those wars, now they was now subject to these new Caucasoid people now taking their place and then basically relegating them through fake organizations like the Freedmen's Bureau. Yeah, they would try to do it with Hillary, but I don't think people are going to have that. So if anything, they would try to push for a double black woman ticket. Like that would ever work. Where you have Michael, aka Big Mike, aka Michelle Obama, and then Kamala Harris. You know what I mean? Or Michelle Obama and Gavin Newsom, because he's a straight piece of shit communist who's destroyed California. Like California is just destroyed. You know what I mean? California's so bad, the Secret Service got robbed. They robbed the Secret Service, bro. So if the Secret Service can't even defend themselves, how y'all niggas gonna come here and force anybody to do anything? You understand? These niggas is crime ridden. You know what I'm saying? On top of that, they basically signed the whole state over to China anyway. That's why we call it California. You know what I'm saying? Which is also why they want to try to, yes, indeed, in the kleptocracy. So that's why they want to get everybody caught up in the Kendrick um, resurgence of real rap and conscious rap, which is a good thing, you know what I mean? But again, it's also helping with the overall distraction. However, having all of the gangs unified is actually a good thing. You know what I'm saying? However, we also got to remember that most of these gangs at the top, they all Freemasons that have been initiated in or outside of prison and are basically working with the police to basically keep everything the way that it's been going. So, you know what I mean? Hopefully, there'll be a brighter way or another way out. But we gotta wait and see on that. You gotta look at the big play. Anybody else? So that was going down. Yeah, the debate gonna go heavy, and then what they're gonna do is, because he's gonna do so good, they're gonna try to sentence him after that. You know what I mean? Despite them knowing that it's a kangaroo court, despite them all of the improprieties and stuff, these niggas still gonna allow it to happen. That's how you know it's something else wrong with these people. See, but this is where all of the trans shit and all of that now got to come into play, because all y'all niggas was on this whole, I'm not a, I am what I identify with, right? So if you're a young man, you don't have to go through no, and you don't want to go to the army. All you gotta do is say that you're trans. You don't identify as a female. Now what they gonna do? What they gonna do? You done created all of these laws now. But you don't even gotta wear a dress. You don't gotta go through no surgery. You don't gotta do nothing. It's all based on how you identify, right? So if you identify as a female, you know what I'm saying? You technically can't be drafted, which is why they want to create something where they trying to create a thing where they forcing females into it now. This was also this is also why they wanted the criminalization of females through the slut rap and this whole ratchet so-called black female behavior. Like, I don't know if you know it, but there's been over 15, 16 different black female judges, mayors, attorneys that have all been getting indicted. That's all been getting locked up for misappropriation of funds, beating up police, doing all types of illegal shit. You know what I mean? And they elected these broads, you know what I mean, to office and all of that. And as soon as they got in, they've been doing heavy corruption, more than, see, at least with the white people, with the white corruption, you know what I mean. You didn't know about none of that till way later. You know what I'm saying? Till later, like the shit would eventually come out when it got to be too much. But these broads, they so into it. You know what I mean? They so just brazen with shit. Like they won't even be quiet with the crime. You know what I'm saying? Like they just going for broke with it. And then because they feel like they've been backed by the system, they not gonna get caught. But the system will throw you under the bus in order to preserve itself. You know what I'm saying? Like, you still gotta understand, most white supremacy and most colorism is being affected by melanated people against each other. You know what I'm saying? Like, it just came out recently, Disney, they just came out and exposed them, saying how they not trying to hire no white people. If you're a white male and you heterosexual, they not trying to give you no job. You're not trying to move. They're not trying to move you up in the company, nothing. And if you melanated and you're not gay enough, or you not, or like if they look at you and they can't tell that you like, how some people are ambiguously melanated, ambiguously so-called black. Well, they got a policy now. If they can't look at you off top and say that you black, like, you not moving up neither. Not to mention, if you heterosexual, they not trying to do that. So again, this is all in violation of the Civil Rights Act. You know what I'm saying? This is the shit that Michael Luther King faked his death for. You know what I mean? And now that's all doing. Yeah, then they got the acolyte. That shit came out. The ejaculate. The ejaculate came out and just destroyed Star Wars altogether. So the Star Wars we knew and all that shit been gone. You know what I mean? And remember, when you was a child, those of us that grew up watching it or aspects of it, like, we wasn't caught up in Luke being white. Like, we didn't see them niggas as white or black or anything like that. Like what's his name was in it? What's his name was in it? Billy D. Williams was in that shit. Like, what you talking about? Like, you know what I'm saying? Mace Windu was in the shit. Like this, it's always been melanated people and women and all of that in it. But again, they can't make. I told you, evil can't create nothing good. So they got to take what good people have made and then corrupt it and turn it into some shit. But they done made the Jedi's the bad guy. They done brought lesbian witches into the shit. And again, they found a way. Like, look, just the symbolism alone, right? And then the chick that's in it done created a diss record. She created a whack ass diss record to go with the to go at the people who don't like the show. I'm like, damn, this shit whack. And her daddy white, her daddy Danish. So she white, like she basically white. You know what I'm saying? Like I know the genetics are melanated. If you got one parent that's melanated, the dominant gene is that. But yeah, but it's more just than the genes now. It's also the minds, the consciousness is what dictates the level of the genes. And it's crazy how the ones with the white parents and stuff, they be the ones that's the most black activists, right? They the most activated with these niggas. You know what I'm saying? Because all of these Disney people are mind control MK Ultra puppets, and they still found a way. Look, they still found a way. Look, they said the best joke I've seen so far. Disney has made a new show where even in the galaxy far, far away, the two black kids still don't have a father. And they made one of the chicks, and they made the chick a damn a killer. So she's also a criminal. And then the other one is then the innocent one that get framed for it. So it's the whole play on black people not having no fathers in the black community, MK Ultra programming, twinning, right, which is another form of MK Ultra breaking the mind state, breaking the mind state of people. And look at what happens with these people. Like these were little kids that we grew up watching on TV. Look what done happened to them, man. They done all been turned out and turned into monsters. You understand? Because that's what the whole thing was. But see, at least back in the days, it was more subliminal. You understand? Like it was subliminal. You had to really be on it. So much so that when you would tell people the shit and show people the shit with the symbolism and the little things they do in a cartoon and stuff like that, people still wouldn't believe you. But now you say shit like, look, Disney trying to promote pedophilia, you be like, yup. You be like, yeah, I know. I know, you're right. They are doing that. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's no denying in that. Like, that's the one other good thing about the Kendrick thing is that you got little kids now singing songs shaming pedophiles. You understand what I'm saying? Like, I seen a whole group of little kids doing a Not Like Us dance. And the loudest part is when he was calling them the pedophiles and the A minor shit and all of that. So, so again, this nigga Kendrick, he fucking up everybody money. He fucking up Disney money. He messing up with the pedophile money. He messing up the Nike money that was behind Aubrey. He messing up the pedophiles. You know what I'm saying? He messing the pedophiles game up. He done messed up what you call it? Academics done got charged after this shit. Like he just destroying a lot of people money, man. They came out with the Drake Nikes the other day. They had to pull all them shits, bro. And they was orange. So you know orange is a heavy Freemason color. See how homie got the orange on right here? Yeah, that's a heavy orange. That's a heavy Masonic color. So yeah, they had to pull them out. They was calling them shits the pedo ones, the the almost 18s. Like they just had the jokes. Like it's just destroying this shit. And it's good. You know what I'm saying? It's good. Well, they tried to do that too. They tried to pull the whole when they was going at them in Florida for the knots the don't say gay bill, which is really that's not what it was called at all. But they came out with that and they was basically saying, nah, that's not
y'all can't do this to us because we basically can be in business until the last heir of King Charles dies, right? But peep that, right after that, that's when you started hearing about King Charles having all types of cancer and shit like that. Remember that? Y'all remember that? Right after that, that's when you didn't even see that nigga. They had to swap him, put him in a new body or some shit, and then brought him out so he could unveil that satanic picture. So the other reason why, like I said, they really not liking Trump was because they brought him to, back when he first became president. Remember, they brought him to the Church of the Holy Sepulchre over there in the built up fake Israel, and that whole thing, that whole play is guarded by Moors. That's who these dudes are right here. I don't know if y'all knew that. There's a whole section of Moors where they're the ones that allegedly are guarding the apartment of your Yeshua Habashai's gravesite in his old house and all that shit. And a lot of the relics allegedly of his life. You know what I mean? If you take him as a physical person or an avatar for that divine spark within man. You know what I'm saying? Also, 9/11, is also when was allegedly his birth, which is why they did what they did with that. See, this is the Israeli shekel 33 years before 2001 they came out with, where they had the plane crashing into the Torah. So that's the other thing. When you see the year 9/11, 68 is when they made the dialing code. 68 is also when they started the construction on the Twin Towers. George W. Bush graduated from Yale in 68. Yeah, that should get right. 2001 Space Odyssey, that was right after the moon landing, when they got your boy Kubrick to fake the moon landing and all that. And that was also the year that the Jets won the only Super Bowl, right? And remember the jet, see what I'm saying? Meaning the planes. See what I'm saying? And that was also the year, like I said, that Israel put out this first fake shekel. Because remember, all Israeli hierarchy and all people from Israel are actually not Hebrews at all. They're not related to the ancient bloodlines or anything at all. They're all Eastern European, Russian Khazars and Polacks, stuff like that. You understand? So they don't really have no genetic connection to nowhere but basically the caves up in West Asia that we now call Europa. So this whole thing was a play from the beginning. So this is also why at the end of his so-called presidency, that's when he got the highest honor from the Moroccan king. Remember we talked about that in the last class, where they showed that he got the commemoration, he got the swords and all of that. So he basically got the back of all of them types of Moors. Everybody that's not down with the traditional joint, you know what I mean? So that's definitely a problem for them. So what we're seeing not only is the destruction of the present paradigm or power structure, but we're also seeing the redistribution of the wealth of that. That's why they want to ship all of the money that the so-called taxpayers is giving them to all of the people in the foreign countries, mainly Israel and Ukraine. That's really it. Nobody else is really getting money no more but them. Also, they done made Zelensky a citizen in Florida. They trying to make him a citizen out here, but DeSantis is trying to fight the shit. You know what I'm saying? So you see here, the Moors is in the front, and then you got these devils in the back, because these represent the slaves. See the ropes around them? See the ropes around their waist? So this is a symbolic. This is all symbolic of what I've been saying about why they really don't like this niggas. Because these niggas is then basically went under the jurisdiction of the true power, which is why he was the 45th president, because 4 and 5 is 9, right? And I just told you that the 9/11 represent that. So here he is. Here they are, basically doing a procession, leading it. Because these monks that's supposed to be Christians, they can't go into the Church of the Holy Sepulchre without these niggas giving them the say so. And if they try to go in without them, they get their heads cut off. Because they're still following the old, like you said, Islamism laws that Brother Principus brought up from the book Templars and Assassins. This is also why they don't want us dealing with more science and stuff like that, because then it puts us in like I said, the real aspect of nobility and rulership and all of that. Like Brother Shikamaga said, big up to him and his page. You definitely want to check his page out. There is no, you never heard of no Indians being kings, no American Indians being kings and all that. What you all ever heard them called? You never heard them being called kings and queens. You only heard them being called what? Chiefs, right? You never heard them have no flag that represent them and their nobility and their ancestry. You never had no coats of arms. The ones that did were Moors. See what I'm saying? But they don't want to deal with that. They want to deal with, you know, all of the fallacy type shit, because then that keeps them and keeps everybody guessing. See, there's another example of what I'm saying. Like, these niggas is dead. These people represent the devil, so they can't go amongst the living. They can only do that when they accompany. So imagine you being a Christian, but you can't even go into the spot that's supposed to be for Christians unless you got Muslims escorting you into it. Look, see how the Muslims is in front the door. See how they all in front the door, and these niggas are standing outside with them. But look his tie. You see how his tie? He got the red and white stripe, like the candy stripe, and then she in all white, right? Look at this nigga. Look at this nigga with the black fez on. Look at these vampires. Look at these. Look at these. Look at these demons. Like, yo, just upset they can't go out. Look, the Moors just looking at them. And remember, these is Moorish fezzes they got on. This ain't no cut down. These are the same fezzes we wear over here. So that should also tell you something. But the ones they wear in the Kingdom of Morocco, they half cut. They halfway, you know what I'm saying? Like they are quarter joints. We be having the full joints. Like the ancient uh like the ancient Mauritanians, the high joints. Yeah, you see how he got his hand in the symbolic aspect of being bound? See how they got the rope around themselves? You might as well just put the shit around your neck. Exactly. You see that too, right, More? Ain't no markings on these feathers at all. That's right. That's right. That's right. So this is why they don't like this thing. This you ain't never see no president do this. You ain't never see no Obama didn't do this. Obama never went there. Obama don't believe in no God. He don't got no God other than Lucifer. He don't believe in no real shit. You know how many people this nigga Obama done bodied already? What happened to the chef? What happened to the nigga with the chef? What happened to the cocaine in the White House? Ain't nobody still talking about that, right? They done found weed and cocaine. Nobody know whose it is. You know damn well that was Hunter's. This nigga Trump said, I'll do the debate, but you got to get Biden to take a drug test before so. So that's why that's why they got Biden on a 7-day vacation right now, trying to clean out his system before the before the debate, so you could clean it out. Same way like when you would get a job, when you get the golden seal, you get the weed out your system before you go for the drug test. That's exactly what they doing with this nigga right now. Exactly. Then y'all know what this is, right? Y'all know what this is. Y'all know what this is, right?
Wow.
Yeah. So y'all just celebrated this. You know what I mean? They gave niggas a holiday, gave the blacks a holiday that they already been practicing. So they basically gave you something you was already doing. So, and then people want to act like it's something special. This right here, Brother Maurice, is the Juneteenth flag. This is the flag that celebrates your freedom on Juneteenth. So white folk can now have a day off. So white folk can have a day off on the day that you're supposed to be celebrating the freedom of your ancestors. The white people can celebrate that freedom too. So another day they could get more money than you and still get a day off on your holiday to to celebrate your freedom. Like, this is what's going on, B. It's all a grift. And the people who are responsible for this are the black Democrats, the black Democrats that have been, supplying this and acting like, they actually gave you something. Like, they don't give you nothing substantial. Even when they gave niggas the PPP loans, they knew that they was going to be able to lock niggas up, lock black people up after that. Because these Negroes is not going to follow the rules to be able to make sure they actually got real businesses and all of that. Because they just quick to cash the checks, right? And then they can now use that to help support the prison system that's also financed by a lot of the record companies. You know what I'm saying? Just like Michael King Day. You know what I'm saying? That's why Arizona was like, fuck that. We ain't celebrating no Martin Luther King Day. That nigga he not even dead. You know what I'm saying? They like that was fake. Like, they ain't even killing that nigga. That nigga probably allowed somebody. They probably brought him back by somebody we don't even know. But here go the bug stuff. Okay, now they'll tell you that the flag was created in Maryland by a dude named Ben Haith. Okay, I don't know if you know the story of the freedom of the Juneteenth freedom flag. Okay, so just so that you know, the Juneteenth freedom flag was created in 1997. You understand? This ain't even a real flag. This ain't even real. You know what I'm saying? They'll show you this flag, but they won't show you the old Seminole flag, the old the old Muskogee flag, the old Chickamauga flag. Like, they won't show you none of that real shit. They'll show you this shit though that they created in 97. The same year Tupac died. You understand? Like, you older than this flag. You older than this. Right? So here go the story. It was in 1997 when Ben Haith came up with the idea to create a flag for Juneteenth holiday. Only recently has it became, see, they even writing it wrong, has it became a federal holiday, right? But Haith and others in the black community have known of its significance for decades. The flag Haith designed, right? Here go the bullshit. It's how you know. The flag that Haith designed in partnership with Lisa Jean Graff. See, there you go. There you go. Features a star at its center. The star represents Texas, the Lone Star State, where the last enslaved people were freed. There is a rising star surrounding it, symbolizing a new day of freedom. The entire image is set in red, white, and blue. See? This is who designed the flag. You know who Gene Graff is? Now, first of all, why wasn't the flag designed by somebody from Texas, where this allegedly came from? Huh? Yes. Miss Graff created the flag, right? Lisa grafted. Thank you, Moore. Yes, indeed, Jake. Lisa grafted the flag, created the flag based on what Ben Haith said, right? So Ben Haith, he's just the window dresser. He's just the face for it. He just the Negro they're going to use to justify why she had to come in, because she's an artist. She's a fine artist from Massachusetts. So again, somebody from Massachusetts designed a flag to represent people from Texas who, at the time that this was done, allegedly were too slow to realize that they had already been free. right? And now this was adopted in Massachusetts, which is the same place as the Plymouth Company, the British East India Company, and all that. Exactly. But then peep this. She also is running for office. You see how this works? So now she can put under her belt that she is also the developer of the freedom flag for the blacks. So now this give her street cred, right, with the people. And she's from the 4th Ward. Member Lisa Jean Graff announces her run for Suffolk 8. See? So in a couple of years, they're probably gonna try to make this bitch like a senator or a congresswoman or some other shit. Or because she helped create a fake flag for some Negroes in uh Massachusetts to act like they actually have some sort of freedom. You see the play? And then peep this. In her bio, it says that she self-identifies as autistic. So she's also disabled. So that's the DEI, right? Diversity jackpot. Right? She done checked all the diversity boxes for these lunatics. She probably gay too. Probably. She don't look like she got no man. She look like one of these burnt out chicks from back in the days that was low key, with the feminist movement, but acted like they was with the Panthers and all that shit. Dan said it just gets worse. Words, son. I'm just showing this so that way you know the play. Like you gotta understand they don't do nothing without that. And because they've been using blacks as cudgels for so long that they can't imagine not being able to manipulate black folk no more. That's why they're going so crazy with all of these blacks going for drunk. You know what I'm saying? If anything, the mass exodus because you gotta understand, nothing can happen in this country if the so-called blacks don't agree to it, because they're the true founders of the country. So they got to get their vote in it. Remember, the rule of 2 says that they got to give you the lie and the truth at the same time, so that way you have the ability to choose between the two. And the black vote is the silent majority. That is the main vote. That's why they want to keep blacks at the procedural procession of being only 13% of the country. Like, you really believe that still? You really believe that still? That we only represent 13% of the entire country, but then we commit 50% of all of the crimes in the country is committed by us, but we only represent 13%? When the main people that black people kill is only each other, whether it be through abortion, whether it be through gun violence, whether it be through domestic violence, shit like that, we only really killing each other. This is why Caucasians always try to buy stuff in the hood, because they know only 2% of the crimes that actually are affiliated that happen to so-called white people are done to white people by blacks when they're around them. Blacks would rather rob each other than rob a white man or white woman. That's only in the movies and shit you see shit like that happen. So yeah, so this is who is responsible, the true mastermind behind the whole Juneteenth flag and Freedom Day and all of this crap that they trying to market to so-called black folk. You know what I'm saying? And Miss Lisa Graff she's the main one. And then Brother Ben, because Ben means son, right? And Haith, somebody look up what the word Haith means. So this person might not even be a real person. Ben Haith might be a cutout too. He might not even be a real person, B. Somebody look up what the word Haith mean. Haith. So yeah, so that's who's running that. You know what I'm saying? That's the play on that. This shit ain't real. Juneteenth is another scam. Another way to give black folks shit that they don't already been doing. You know what I'm saying?
and it represents the ignorance of those so-called blacks that were thing. That's Principus. He freaked it. Haith means used as a mild oath. Look at that. So son, so his name really mean son oath. So really, that's really his name really mean Mason oath, right? Yakub said it's a curse. Exactly, exactly. It's all another play. It's another play. It's another grift. It's another scam. They scamming. It's another scam against the community, man. Just like Disney, like I said, it's a Disney. They then found another way to make black folk have no black fathers, even in space. Even in space. Yeah, so we done. So when everybody, so if anybody's come to you and start talking about how, oh yeah, but we got Juneteenth and all that, you can look at them and tell them they stupid. You can just show them this video and let them know that they've been duped. And it's okay, man. This is just what they do. This is what they've been doing. We need to stop getting caught up when we find out that it's all a scam. It's another scam. And again, who's behind the scam? A Caucasian female. Who are the people voting for Biden? Caucasian females. Like I was having a discussion with somebody the other day about the Quran, right? And I said, well, go into the Quran and find a single verse, one single verse where it talks about women in paradise. Not the 72 virgins that you promised, but like a verse where women aren't subjugated and are seen in a deific place in paradise. You can't find one. You can't find one. Because that Quran was not set up for that. It was set up to promote these people to do what they're doing. You understand? And when you have a situation like this, you got to understand, man, it's not everything is for everybody. Yeah, she looked like the typical chick, the typical white liberal racist Karen, librarian, and she will vote for niggas like Biden, who's a pedophile and shit like that. Like, still do that. Understand? Just like right now in Mecca, right? In Mecca, right now. Over 1,000 people. That was yesterday. Today, it's been almost 2,500 people dead. Dead. Going to pilgrimage. Dead. I mean, and people go out there and die every year. I don't know if you know that. It's at least 500 to almost 1,000 people dying at every Hajj. I don't know if y'all know that. You can look it up. But this year it's been crazy. They was reaching the levels of 125 degrees in the shade. You imagine going over there to go and do all these rituals and then just die of heat stroke? Like, come on, B. Come on, man. You think Allah wants you to do that? Any God that wants you to do something like that is the devil. You understand? You understand? Any God that wants you to go and sacrifice yourself is the devil. Period. Not because I say so, because that's what the devil do. This is why the prophet referred to us as Muslims, because again, as we seen in the old Southeast Indian dialect joints, that Muslim is a Delaware word. It is not a Muslim. Muslim now, that's something different. That came after.
So yes, you could be a Muslim and do all of that what they be doing. What I'm saying is we something different, and we have a specific understanding of ourselves over here. We have a peculiar and a specific understanding of history as it pertains to us because we are re-establishing our true history outside of what these other people have told us our history is. You understand? Everybody is trying to tell us what our history is. Everybody is trying to come out and say what we say about our history isn't true. And that what the white man said about our history is true. That's crazy to me. To me, that's crazy. Because these will be the same people out here trying to act like they not down with this so-called white man. You understand? It's truly a sickness. Like the way that these people going. Like I had some joker from one of these things do like a whole like I guess challenge video to me the other day. I don't even know who this person is. But why am I gonna why would I accept something like that from somebody who don't even got a nationality? On top of that, and to e- edify somebody else's opinion of me. Like I'm 51 years old. You think I care what somebody think about what I'm doing? Like, come on, man. How you think I've been out here this long? Yeah, because it's like the Christian thing. They want you to be verily ready to die in the name of this God that you're supposed to be worshiping and all of that. And that's crazy. Yeah, B, like I'm not here to validate what to go like to talk to some man I don't know about what I done said or it's like nigga what? Like I don't care. I don't care. I'm beyond that now. I'm a grown man with three grown children, like yeah, for what? Like who are you? Like you got way too much time on your hands and you sitting there worried about what the fuck I'm saying. You know what I mean? Like come on man, it's stuff that I see every day that I be like, yo, this is this is really messed up, blah blah blah. And then I should say something. I'd be like, what? You should what? No, you shouldn't. You should just stay right here and mind your business and keep doing what you do. You don't know this person. What do you care what this person thinks? Like when you reach that level, you know what I mean? Like that's the level I think that we don't also expand on as nobility. Like you don't care what the commoners think. You're not supposed to care. You know what I'm saying? You're supposed to be men, and we're supposed to be men and women of the people, for the people, and of them. But we don't necessarily got to participate in everything these people are doing, everything these people saying, every question these people want to have answers. Like that's not how they do it. When you get to a certain age and you get to a certain understanding of yourself, you got to allow that which does not matter to slide away. Because then what happens is it opens you up to see things more objectively. You know what I'm saying? This is the Allah that they talking about. You understand? This the Allah they trying to deal with. This the Allah that they putting themselves under, unbeknownst, which is why their joint come with a Q. Our Quran come with a K. K come before Q. Just like O come before U for a reason. So I'm not saying that they supposed to, you know what I'm saying? We're supposed to, that's why the prophet never told y'all to do Ramadan and He never told y'all to pray for. He never said none of that. He never said you had to do any of that to be a Muslim, did he? No. If you want to do that to show solidarity with your so-called Muslim brothers, you can do that. But that don't mean that that's what you have to do. And those in the Muslim Brotherhood and all of that, in the higher echelons of that, like I've done whole videos on that. This is where you get ISIS and Boko Haram and Hamas and Hezbollah and there's another one. It's ISIS, Boko Haram, Hamas, Hezbollah, um, Taliban, Mujahideen, all of them. Back in the days, the PLO, like all of that. You know what I'm saying? All of them is a part of the same thing. They are all working together because they all Freemasons, and part of their joint is to work for the deities, which are the otherworldly entities that require blood sacrifices and shit like that for them to get down with. And that's what this shit is. Why would you go somewhere to worship Allah, right? And then wind up being trampled or dying in the heat. Remember, they just flooded. Remember, it was all flooded out there a couple of months ago. Remember, slavery is legal in places like Dubai and what you call it, in the Emirates and all of that. They enslaving niggas out there. They taking niggas passports. They doing porta potty rituals. You can't have no alcohol on that, but they'll pay hundreds and thousands of dollars to have women from over here come over there and be for and then do bestiality and pedophilia and all this other type of stuff, right? So you can't drink alcohol, but you can do all of that. What are they really telling you? Get pooped on and all of that, and then these chicks are so brain dead. It's not just females doing that; it's dudes doing that too. It's dudes doing that. The same way you got females doing that, you got these men, these celebrities, these type of niggas going over there and doing it. Cause in the end, they all working together, man. You know what I'm saying? Because this is how they supplicate and give alms to their God. This is what their gods demand. You don't cast pearls to swine. You don't argue with fools, or you'll be mistaken for one. You know what I'm saying? You gotta let the fools talk amongst themselves. Let them niggas say whatever. Like you gotta get to a point where you just become indifferent to what anybody else is saying or doing. That's not conducive to what you're doing, because that's what they do. You ever go to somebody and you used to be able to have dialogue, and then you would build and build, and you would actually get to a point where you reach common ground? When the last time you've ever done that? When the last time that's happened? You ever notice that over the years, the more you build with people, the more it's like they don't want to just hear your side of it. They just want to be right. They just want to be able to just prove that you're wrong. No matter what type of science, no matter what you bring it in, it don't matter. That's not what they want. They want the edification of being right over you. So it's not even about the information. It's not even about getting to a common ground. It's about you being right. You see what I'm saying? Which means what? Which means it's a scam. When you talk about this is for the people and you want the people to get the right info, you scamming. You scamming. Because you don't care about the people. You just want to hear yourself talk and be patted on the back saying, oh, see, I knew this person was this. Water find its own level. You know what I'm saying? Always. Yeah, people don't want to talk to come to common ground anymore. Now, if you start to get too ill and you start to be able to bust shit down and get people and really expose what the people are, they block you. They block you. They try to get you deplatformed. Like they don't, because they don't have no arguments. They can't stand on what it is that they believe or that they know. They don't want to do none of that. They just want people to believe what they say is the truth, whether it's true or not. Whether you're correct or not is irrelevant. You understand? It has nothing to do with it. It's all about marketing and the grift and getting more people on your side because it's a mob mentality. We saw the deterioration of the so-called conscious community. We saw it happening. Some of us, not to toot my own horn, but as one of them, we documented it. You can go to my blog talk page and go to my main aseerthedukatives.com and go to the blog talk shit. For 7 years straight, I'm talking to you about what was happening to us within it at the same time it was happening. How they was raising certain people up, how they was giving certain people platform, how they was blacklisting other people. And look what happened. Oh yeah, this is the princess of Bulgaria. You didn't know? This is one of the people who negotiated with Biden for the Ukraine money. This is who your tax dollars is going to in Ukraine. It helped negotiate for that. Yeah, this is a man. This is a straight man. But it's a princess, because that's another ritual they do over there. I did a joint called Barbarians and Tartarians when the world was Asia, and I showed you how all of the old princesses after the Reconstruction, the last reset in the early 1900s, how they replaced all of the actual women with dudes. With dudes, man. Then on the other side, like I said, these are all of the people who have dual Israeli citizenship, who are running the country. Look at this. On this whole page, there's only 2 people who are straight American. And of the 2, only one of them is technically indigenous. And he might be from Trinidad or some shit. You don't know. Come on now. So you really gonna tell me that this is the woman? That's what y'all really gonna tell me? This might not even be a human. This looked like Caesar from the Planet of the Apes. This nigga looked like Koba. Planet of the Apes, B. Look at this thing. And this is the princess. Look at what they doing. Look at how they just destroyed the image of the woman. Where they can parade this thing out. And the people in Bulgaria, y'all must sit there and act like this is y'all princess. This is why your country, if you let this happen, this is why your country deserves to fall. Why? Because the whole thing is run by these people, these agents, all of them. Schumer, all of these people, all of them, they all happen to be of that persuasion. Why is that? How is it even legal for you to be in the so-called United States government and still have dual citizenship with a foreign power? How is that even legal? Because the District of Columbia has nothing to do with the Republic of America. America is a republic for which it stands. It stands on the republic. But the District of Columbia is the last aspect of Rome. You understand? So this is what they're running. This is why they had to create a whole science where you can identify as a female even though you're a male. So this way, when they bring this types of shit out, when they try to bring this type of shit out, you can't protest it and be like, no, that you are a male, sir. No, I identify as no. Well, I identify as somebody who has the right opinion on this subject. Are you going to respect that? Are you going to respect my pronouns as being the right person in this conversation? No, no. This is what I'm saying. This is what I'm trying to get everybody to really peep, man. They really trying to run this battery on us. Like we don't actually see what is happening, what they're doing. Yeah, because they probably killed the real princess and replaced it with She-Hulk right here. Excuse me, let me not even dish She-Hulk like that, because She-Hulk actually looked good. This thing, whatever it is, this thing gotta go. You understand? This is not even funny no more. It's like they just doing anything, throwing anything at you. That's like I said. That's what I said. They'll try to lock this dude up, and then because he in jail, they're gonna act like, well, he can't be president. We can't let him be president for y'all because that would be going against democracy. No, if he wins and he wins the election, then you can't come back and say that the election is not valid because then that would be election denying, right? And that's what you said this nigga did. Ain't that what Fanny tried to lock him up for? It's so bad that this dude, Nathan Wade, that was there with the Fannie Willis thing, remember that? They went in his phone, right? And you know how you give people different names in your phone? Or you might call people different names, whatever, in your phone, whatever. In his phone, he had Fannie Willis' name saved as Gorilla Grip Pussy Pal. That's what he had her name saved as in his phone, fam. Like you can't make this up, fam. Like it's over. Like they just trolling now. They just like what? Yes, he had her listed in the phone as a Gorilla Grip Pussy Pal. Damn. Damn, Fanny, they got you out here looking crazy. They got you out here looking crazy. All for what? So you can go in a church, right? That's all this bitch now. All she do now is go to church and try to cry to the Christians and try to get them on her side. Like that ain't gonna work. Black people ain't even Christians no more. You got pastors that now has the first husband. You got churches where the pastor got the first husband in the church. So now you got to go there and see the pastor with his husband. Like it's over. It's over, B. They done corrupted y'all to the point of almost no return. And those of us, right, who know better, see it exactly for what it is. Like we not, this ain't nothing. Like we've been saying that this is what it is. We've been talking about this. We've been letting y'all know that all of this shit, this whole thing is a scam. From Reconstruction on is a scam, man. There's another brother for PNF Research. He just did a whole thing showing how showing the nobility of people here in the States and all of that. He was not only the kings and the queens, but the emperors and all of that. There's another page, another brother, a sister got a page called Sacred Grove. He going in. Harris the Moore going in. Wars in America going in. Like it's too much real info out here for us to just be acting like with anything that these Pan Africans or any of these other type of people trying to displace us like everybody else is telling the truth about shit because they not, man. We are. We're the ones who've been talking about nationality. We're the ones that have been talking about identifying as real Americans. We're the ones saying that no, we wasn't brought over here as no slave, that we actually fought back. Like, we the ones talking about this. We the ones trying to show and prove that our ancestors wasn't no punk bitches that all just get all just grouped up on a boat and brought somewhere. Like we the only ones been saying that. You ain't never hear us talk about getting reparations and all of that. Like, how come y'all going to the? And if that's the case, how come y'all going to the to the white man and not the Africans. Ain't ain't the Africans supposed to be paying reparations too? Wasn't they the ones that sold us? I don't know if you remember. They've been scamming it. Yeah, they've been scamming us since 1871. That's right, Mom. That's right, Sister Kim. That's right. Since the Act of Congress. That's right. That was the first coup d'état, the first one. I just did a whole joint. Y'all was in it. Y'all was in the class. It was called the Arius Conspiracy, showing that Rome and all of that is in America, right? Showing that all of that shit was here, right? Oh, that's not true. Had some African was upset and was like, I mean, trying to rewrite the history and said, I say you damn right. I'm trying to rewrite this history. You should be doing the same thing. You should be you should be doing the same thing. What you talking about? That's what we supposed to do. What they used to tell us in the Nation of Gods of Earth. The history, Nation of Islam has no birth record. Every time we be 25,000 years, we renew the history for another 25,000 years. Renew means to what? To make new, to bring it full circle, to let everybody know, right? So again, they went and told everybody this, telling everybody about that, about showed how Arius and Arianus, Afris Empire, and all of that, gave them the books, all of that, still don't want to hear it. So I was like, okay, next class I'm gonna show you this. Look, a modern twist, the coincidence of Pope Francis, Washington's hidden Roman legacy. What? Nestled in Washington, D.C.'s history is a surprising connection to a little known place, Rome. Where? In Maryland. In Maryland. This discovery offers a unique glimpse into America's past. What? What? In the 17th century, a vast estate of 400 acres existed southeast of what is now Georgetown in Maryland. Where was this chick, Louise Graff, from? Where was Louise Graff from, who created the freedom flag, the Juneteenth flag? Where's she from? We just said it. Where's she from? Yes, Maryland. Yes, yes. Where was the Virginia East India Company, or excuse me, the Plymouth Company, and all of that? Where was that at? Maryland and Virginia, right? Look, Washington was originally named Rome, Maryland. That's it. Like, so how y'all gonna go against this now? How y'all gonna say that Moors is capping on this now? How y'all gonna freak this? Look, discovery of the unique history of Rome in Maryland and the influence on Washington, D.C. from Francis Pope's estate to the Tiber Creek's origin. There was an old TV show that was a spin-off from X-Files, and it was with Lance Hendrickson, the nigga who played Bishop in Alien, and it was called Millennium. And every week he worked for this thing called the Millennium Group, and they were trying to find different ways to stave off the apocalypse. And they found these Nazis that happened to be in the United States that had a secret society, and they was doing all types of rituals and stuff. So when they would have a code, right? They would have a code that they would say to each other, and they would say, "On what river does Rome lie?" And the answer was on the Tiber, right? So here it is. Now, isn't it interesting that they elected a nigga named Pope Francis to run the Vatican as the white pope? You see what I'm saying? Look, boom, Georgetown in Maryland, owned by an Italian culture enthusiast from the 17th century. This is how they telling you. Where was Rome? In Italy, right? So it just so happens that in Italian, this land was ambitiously named Rome. The owner's passion for Italy didn't just influence the name, it shaped the vision for the new world. This estate was more than land, it was a symbol of aspiration and a connection to ancient civilizations because it was already here. Transitioning from the European inspiration to the American reality. Look at how they telling you. The visionary behind this American Rome was Francis Pope. And now we got a nigga running the Vatican named Pope Francis. Like, come on, man. It's another hustle. It's another grift. The story detailed in October 7th, which is Elijah Muhammad's birthday, which is Pascal Beverly Randolph's birthday in 1883, right? Right after the coup d'etat in 1871. The Washington Post, which today is owned by Jeff Bezos, article reflects a blend of ambition of whimsy. Pope took pride in his estate, often boasting about his Rome on the Tiber. On the Tiber. His unique naming scheme wasn't just a personal quirk, it was a statement of cultural identity and historical awareness. Francis Pope's legacy extends beyond mere land ownership. He imbued his estate with a sense of historical and cultural significance. His choice to name the creek Tiber was a deliberate effort to echo the greatness of ancient Rome in the new American landscape. How was the new American landscape when the land was already here? Anybody know? It was already here. See what I'm saying? See, this unexpected twist in the story connects to the historical and contemporary worlds. So how come nobody ever told us the name of Washington, D.C. before it was Washington, D.C.? What they told us was that it was a swamp, right? That's what they say. But this says no, this was named Rome, and then this is where they also. So when we say that that the United States is the new Rome, and that Washington, D.C. is Rome, right? So where did all of the buildings that was already there came from? The Capitol building and all that type of shit. That was because it was already here. Washington, D.C. was once known as Rome, showing a connection between the old world and the new, meaning from the classical period to the modern era. But watch, they're gonna find a way to not accept it. They're gonna find a way to say, "Oh, it's not true," because that's what they do. That's what these blacks. That's what these historical apologists. That's what they do. They just find ways to go against their own self because they want the white man to win. They want, and when I say the white, WIGHT whites, I'm talking about those people who are that and those people who identify with that. Because like I said, most white supremacy is being carried out by melanated people. There's nobody more white supremacist than the Africans. I just read about like 12, 13 melanated women from America murdered in Africa, in the Gambia, in these different places in Africa. When we supposed to be going home. They said no, when we go there, we just foreigners to them. We just wallets for them. And a lot of these sisters, they think they could go over there with the attitude that they've been bred up over here with. And them African men, them niggas is crazy. Them niggas, unless you're a white woman, they not feeling you like that. Especially the attitude. They not having it, man. They not supportive of that. And they are offing these sisters out. And ain't nobody saying nothing. Where's the what's up? They trying to blame the sisters. They're trying to say, oh well, they came over here with this attitude. Like I feel you, but at the same time, they are under the assumption that this is their homeland, and they are finding out no, it's better over here. Why? Because the devil you know is better than the one that you don't. Sorry. And why am I gonna go to Africa when they all coming over here? They trying to change our music. They trying to get us into Afrobeat and shit. Like okay, I'm cool. I like Fela. You know what I'm saying? But all of this other shit, this Burner Boy niggas and the rest of these niggas, like, come on, man. Where's the beat? You know what I'm saying? Like, where's the beat at? I can't identify with this. I need a drum beat. You know what I'm saying? I need some bass. I need to understand what they're saying. And then these niggas will come out and say that we don't have no culture. Ain't that crazy? They say that we don't have no culture. Niggas like Kai Cenat and Burna Boy and these type of niggas will come out and say we don't have no culture. Why? Is the volume low? I got it up. Everybody hear me? Okay, cool. So yeah, so then there's this. This also show you how Rome again was connected to the Moors and all of that. This thing right here looks just like this, right? Look just like the Colosseum at Rome, right? Well, this is called the Croisière El de Gem or the El Gem Amphitheater. Only the Colosseum of Rome is larger. It is also known as the Thystris Amphitheater, after the city built by the Romans at the site of a Punic settlement, which means that most likely it was here before the Romans, because the Romans just took what the Punics had, just like the white Confederates took what the Moors already had. These niggas don't rebuild nothing. They don't build nothing. They just build on top of stuff and then refurbish stuff after they blast it. The city and structure faded into Roman memory after a botched revolt in 238 AD. The name of the amphitheater and the city still houses it preserved the more. See? The more Aghlabide reference to what later became Mahdiya, only 18 miles away, the capital of the Fatimid dynasty, founded in the 9th century by the fervent Kotama Berber, i.e. Moorish king, Obeid al-Allah al-Mahdi. Mahdi is itself the site of the Taurus Hannibalius, the last Hannibal Barca saw of Africa before his eastern exile to a place called Bithynia, and ultimate suicide in what is today the city of Gebze, 40 miles south of Istanbul. See? So these are Moorish architecture. These are Moorish structures left over from the Moorish, i.e. Punic period of ancient Carthagena. And we know that Carthagena, there's more places called Carthage in South America and here in America than over there in what they call Africa. Remember, the word Africa is a Latin Punic word, meaning that the Punic or Carthaginians, i.e. Berbers, named the whole continent that. Mahadia is also the ancient Africa aphrodisium built by the Romans at the site. Remember, this just means built by the Carthaginians, inherited by the Romans. At the site of the Comptor Phoenician, settled by Moors. After the conquest in the Great Triangle encompassing Sus and Monastir, abandoned for more grandiose and newly founded Cairo, occupied by Roger of Sicily, a Morisco, in 1138, then by the Almohad Moors in 1160, which is really 160. Then sieged by the Genoese Louis of Bourbon in the 1390, which is 390. Taken then by the Spaniards in 1509, then by the Corsairs. These are all Moors. It's going back and forth between traditional Moors, Roman Moors, pirate Moors, right? Turks. We just passing it back and forth between each other. El Hajim is the fortress of Al Kahina, who was the founder, who was the last Moorish princess of the Numidians, who fell to the so-called Islamic Moorish factions that were taking over Numidia and all of that. There's a book called the Book of the Fragrant Garden. Al-Himyara described the amphitheater as the Qasar al-Kahina, or the Castle of Kahina. She used it as a refuge in her battles against Numan al-Ghassani. Food prepared by her sister was secretly brought to her from the Salaketa, the Roman Siclesium, another 18 miles away. So again, all of this talk about, what Moors was this, like all of that shit is fake. Look, it gets iller. She saw her land stand in ultimate demise, and at the age of 105 or 107, at the hands of Hassan ibn al-Numan troops at Tabarka, El-Jem was used as refuge earlier by troops of the Byzantine Gregory, king of Sabitilia, and Carthage, both in the 7th century. The amphitheater survived intact until 695, aka 1695, when upon the orders of the Moor Muhammad Bey, part of it was blasted to flush out the rebels. See? This is the part that they blasted out. The structure was used for various purposes in modern age by the New Zealander, American, and German troops during World War II. The El Jem is a contraction from the Arabic al-Ajem, which means castle, typically a square one, in reference to the presumed bulkiness. The amphitheater was featured in a 2008 ad paying homage to Russell Crowe's epic Gladiator. The El Jem is a Tunisian gem. So this is what I'm saying, man. We was on both parts of this globe. We wasn't just in one place. We wasn't just in Africa. We wasn't just in America. We wasn't in Europe. We was in the whole thing, fighting amongst each other for generations. Because some of us were still idol worshiping and human sacrificing and enslaving, and the other parts of us wasn't. Yes, Jawad said, so the names of those places were representative of jurisdiction. Yes, yes. So if Carthage held, let's say Carthage ran Florida, right? And then it also had land in, kind of like how the United States do with Guam. Guam ain't on the mainstay of the United States, but it has jurisdiction over it, don't it? So technically it's the United States, right? But it ain't got nothing to do with the mainland, do it? When the last time you heard anybody talk about Guam? But it's still part of the United States. Alaska ain't part of the mainstream United States, but it's still part of the United States, right? Which means it's what? It's a part of Rome. We conquered the whole thing. We was running the whole thing at one point. And that's what they don't want us to really focus on and get back to. Because then that removes aspects of the slave grip that these niggas been making money off of all these years. They got to keep their money going. They got to keep the grift going. They got to keep us believing that we was oppressed 400 years ago. And all of us were prisoners of war. We were prisoners of war. That's what happened. And in the process of that, our identities were stolen and mixed up. And they created different schools through the orphanages and the so-called insane asylums, right? Where they would take the Siberians and they would put them in their own like little schools, right? Where they call it Indian school. Then you have what you call the Moors Indian school, Moors Indian Charity School, where now they making these blacks now believe that they Negroes, that they from Africa. And you got these Siberians now, they taking aspects of the Moorish culture that they've been assimilated through the Smithsonian, and they giving this to them, making them think that they initially was here. But none of they built any of the giant statues and giant buildings and structures and all of that shit that was already here. None of they people was kings and queens. They was chiefs and chieftains, if that. They lived in wigwams and wickiups. You understand? They didn't have no idea who built these mountains, how they built these mountains. Because if they did, they'd be building them today instead of building casinos. If you did it then do it now. No, y'all want to build casinos and shit. Cool. Y'all could do that. You know what I'm saying? But gambling and drinking and drugs all go together. So good luck with that. You know what I'm saying? But what are we doing? We trying to teach ourselves Punic Latin again. You had other groups like the Aseer Society that's trying to teach they people how to read and speak ancient hieroglyph and Egyptians and Egyptianism, right? Comesianism, right? They teaching themselves that. You got Moors over here teaching themselves Hebrew and all of that, right? But what? That so we doing that. We're somehow what? Trying to copy what somebody else did. Then how come they ain't speaking it now? You know what I'm saying? Like Jewish is not a language. Jews gotta go to Hebrew school. Think about that. They gotta go to Hebrew school because it's reversed. They're the Gentiles. We're not. These books that's on your screen actually depict and spell all of this out. They always got us thinking that they came over here and colonized us when in antiquity it was the reverse. We went over there, colonized all of that after the 11,500 years after the ice age ended or subsided a bit. We did that. Then came back over here. Then they followed us back over here when it got too hot for them over there because they didn't want to follow the universal principle. They wanted to go back to tribalism, to classism, because that's what Europeans wars was dealing with, classism. The racism was regaled to those who weren't us. That's why the abolitionists, when you read the forgotten cause of the Civil War, was fighting for their own freedom against us. Yeah, so we don't already establish that Rome is already in the United States. That this dude Francis Pope or Pope Francis, that was just another what you call it. That's just another trade name that they just pass on from time to time when they're trying to just get people in it involved and trying to flip it and bounce it and make it seem like this is some new shit. But no, that's just another trade name. Later, we will visit some of the ruins in North America that have been radiocarbon dated to the Moorish period. It is also interesting to point out that the Moors were amalgamated into the Grail religion. Indeed, Wolfram von Eckenbach in Percival tells us that the first account of the Grail was written in a confused pagan writing, Punic, Arabic, and was from Toledo, Ohio. Therefore, some Moorish voyages on the Atlantic may not have been entirely unrelated to the Grail. Canadian archaeologists and historians, while unaccountably hostile to Celtic and Norse visitation in North America, even though written documents, ruins, and artifacts support it, that are willing to grant that the Basque, almost any pre-Columbian transatlantic achievement, despite the fact that there are no pre-Columbian documents to prove the Basque voyages, have no doubt that all Basque voyaged to North America before Columbus. The Basques, the Welsh, the old Scottish, the Albigensians, who they trying to say wasn't real. All of these are Moors, Moorish factions. When we think of the Basques, though, we should remember that they also lived in the Pyrenees region, that they too suffered in the Albigensian, right? In the 8th century AD, the Moors, i.e., natives of Mauritania in North Africa, now we know where Mauritania is, according to the congressional record, right? According to the congressional record of 1845, the annexation of Texas says that the more ancient land of the ancient Mauritanians is everything on the other side of the Rebo and the Nueces Bravos River, invaded Spain and took with them the Egyptian culture, which they had preserved the knowledge in ancient ways and centralized, i.e., belonged to the common parent system, i.e., wisdom teaching of the mysteries of Egypt, which was called Sophia. The name Sophia means Egypt. As such, the people of North Africa were of the neighbors of the Egyptians, right? Because North Africa is another way of saying North America. All right, it's the same pretext. It's just they got us thinking North Africa as that little piece on the edge that we today call the Kingdom of Morocco, because everything is based upon their geography, which we know is false, right? We know it's false. Just so that way we can let them know, we know what we're talking about. As such, the people of North Africa were neighbors of the Egyptians, right? That's why we got all these Egyptian hieroglyphs and temples and all of that in the Grand Canyon, which is why they call Southern Illinois Little Egypt, right? That's what Lincoln called it, right? Right. Their occupation of Spain and the Moors displayed the considerable credit and grandeur of the African and or Afris culture and civilization. The schools, the libraries which they established became famous throughout medieval world. Medieval means Moorish. The science and learning were cultivated, were taught at the cities of Cordoba, Toledo, Seville, Saragossa. These are all places here in America. Look them up on the exotic map of the United States. They still here. In addition, the Moors kept up the constant contact with Mother Egypt because we was all the same people. But they had established caliphates not only at Baghdad and Cordoba, but it's also in Cairo in Egypt. Just here, it would be well to mention that the great leaders of the great religions of antiquity were initiates in the Egyptian mystery system, which was what? Islamism, which is what we talked about in the beginning of the class, right? When the prophet said our religion is Islamism or Islamism, he was right and exact because he didn't want us to identify as anybody else. Don't nobody call themselves Moors in Africa no more. People in Morocco don't call themselves Moors. They call themselves Moroccans. We are the only ones on earth calling ourselves Moors. You know that? It's just us. They call themselves Moroccans, and they spell it with an O. Boom, here it is. This is from the annexation of Texas from the congressional record. So all of these other haters and Pan-Africanists and African apologists and aboriginalists and all of these other ists and phobes, these morophobes, because that's what I'm calling them now. People who are allergic to Moors, they morophobes. They got they got morophobia. Remember, you heard it here first. They got morophobia. They anything as soon as they hear or see anything with Moors, they just go crazy. They just can't deal with it. They start pulling out red, black, and green flags. They start putting on kente cloth, right? They start putting on kente cloth, right? They start pulling out spears and shit. They immediately start hating. That's how you know we onto it. Look, it says what? The territorial limits are marked in the configuration of the continent by the Almighty's hand. What do they call the Moors? That's what the Moors call themselves in Chicago. The peace stones, they call themselves the Almighties. They would say, "Peace, Almighty." That's how you know. The Almighty hand also represents the hand of Fatima, right? Boom. The regions of cotton and sugar. Boom. Those rivers which are naturally our waters, with the centuries in the Bay of Mexico, the stupendous deserts between the Nubos and the Bravo rivers are the natural boundaries between the Anglo-Saxon and the Mauritanian races. There, there, there ends the valley of the West. There Mexico begins. Thence beyond the Bravo begin the Moorish people and their Indian associates to whom Mexico properly belongs. That's why in 1621 they exchanged the word Moorish for Indian. So we would be messed up today. Then what does this say? Big up to Moors in America. Uh, yeah, MUUR Moors in America. The origin of the name Texas is given as Tecas or Tukawas, right? Divine chief, usually associated with Tahuti, aka Thoth, and the pentagram, which is the five-pointed star, as in the Texas state flag. What does Takas mean? The god of knowledge, right? Takuasu, right? Which is the masters of wisdom who helped Thoth plan. Who was the king of Mauritania? Juba. Get the book King Juba. Who was the son of who? Cleopatra. So again, how are we not Moors, and how are the Moors are not the true founders of all of the stuff that y'all are trying to give credit to other races for? Like, I'm sorry that y'all are caught up in this shit, but we're not, bro. We're not. We know, because we read. Look, it's like they be so black that they just be blacked out. They just they just blacked out. They don't even know like from whence or where anything come. They just go by what they believe. They want to be slaves. They want to be slaves from Africa. They want to be part of a nation that don't even, people that don't even claim them. They don't even claim them. The Africans think they better. They come over here and think they better. To get something popping in Africa, you got to be white. I saw this whole thing about this white woman in Malawi who set up some sort of like hospital for to help black children or whatever, and in the hospital, and she was literally killing people. She was literally killing people because she wasn't even a doctor. She didn't even have no degree in doctorism, nothing. She killed over 300 people, children. This white woman, children. Then when they finally tried to lock her up, and finally tried to do something. Then she said she was basically portraying a character. This is what this woman said. She was portraying a character. So she shouldn't be held accountable for none of that because she also had what you call it's present when she was doing this shit. She had African so-called doctors present doing it. So she shouldn't be held accountable for that because of this. Of course, she rich and white, and they let her get away with it. Let me and you go over there and try to do some shit like that. Like I said, they got black women over there with money trying to go over there, set up businesses. They killing them. And this is not all Africans. Not all Africans think this way, or people who identify as the term African, but when they're in Africa, they're not Africans. They are Senegalese. They are Sudanese. They are Gambian. They are Burkina Fasoian or whatever. You understand? They go by nationalities. They don't just be out here just they unifying and all of that. They got their own thing. They are genetically diverse over there. Just because they dark skinned don't mean that they all the same. They are some of the most genetically diverse people on the entire globe. But because they all happen to be dark skinned, everybody just lumped them into the same thing, but they not. Nah, that's the problem. And like I said, the prophet was all wise and was right and exact. He let us know exactly who we were and why we needed to be ourselves. That's what he said. Be yourself, right? Look at this picture, man. Because you said that about Jesus. Watch this. But look at this verse. Look. See? They put the Muslim son out in the first because he represents the death that they bring into all of the slaves. But look at all of these people back here. These ain't white people. Those is Moors. Look at them. And look at this dude right here. This the dude running shit. But because everybody, and remember, old impressionists and old artisans that would do paintings like this would always do things to kind of keep it Masonic. So your eye goes to the dude in the front, right? Because he's in the front. But in the old Mason way, the dude in the front is the student or the servant or the, the acolyte, right? The man in the back is the ruler. The king always stay in the back. Who this? Who that? See what I'm saying? All these people working for him. He the one running it. Trust. Trust. He doing the work. Look in the back. Look at this mall right here in the night joint. In the night joint. And then this is the Holy Roman flag. Look at the black eagle, the double-headed black eagle. This is the Holy Roman Empire. This is the Moors. Look, look at the flag. That's the flag of the Holy Roman Empire. That's the Moors. This nigga is just doing the work. He cleaning out the riffraff. He getting rid of the Siberians. He putting them back in their place. He putting them under the sword. Putting them under. He the one bringing the technology. All the shit belong to him. This is their God. See this dude? He got the same hooded cloak on that I showed you in the beginning of the dude working with Trump. I mean, in the front, outside of the sepulcher. These are the ones doing the work. Look at all these niggas working. All these niggas working. What are you talking about? They moving the cannon. These are slaves, bro. All these niggas right here, these slaves. They doing the work. And then he backed up by the Moors. Look at all of these Moors in the back. All back here. Look at this Morisco right here. He's looking at in reverse. These are the ones living in the wigwam. These was the ones that they let live on the land and squat and all of that free. And it got to the point it was like, nah, we're gonna put y'all under this Roman jurisdiction, and the rest of these Moors is gonna take all of the rest of this stuff back. So yes, the Indian associates. Thank you. Exactly. Look, he the number two. He right next to the Moor. See, he higher ranked than him. The dude pointing, he higher than this nigga. This is just the front man. This the straw man. This the straw man. These Moors is the ones that's running it. All of these slaves is working for them. Slaves working for them. And we was just reading about Constantinople and all of that, right? This is from the old magazine, the Ancient American. They stopped printing them right when they got rid of the Barnes and Nobles and all of that. Constantinople is Istanbul, now part of modern Turkey. Flanking the mosaic of the Blessed Mother Mary is the mosaic of Christ in the letters MPOY, right? Meter Theo, which means Mother of God, right? In Greek. On the mosaic Christ are the Greek letters ICXC in the Byzantine Greek form. Byzantine Greek, i.e. Greek form. From the literature above it, the translation is Iosis Christos, or Jesus Christ. These examples of the date of the 9th century, from which others can be seen, Rome's 5th century, Santa Maria Maggiore, as well as the other churches of the period. Found also where? At Connecticut. Found also at the Connecticut site are two extremely impressive baptismal fonts, rectangular, other with the shape and flame of the Holy Spirit. The flame-shaped baptismal font is carved in a large rock with the letters FPBC, probably abbreviated from the Latin words Fons Pro Baptismus, catechumen, right? The font for the baptism of the catechism, here in Connecticut, right? So they found all this here, all this Byzantine shit they found here in the United States, in Connecticut. But we bugging, we making up history. You know what I'm saying? Like we making it up. But they finding all of this shit here. Christian Byzantine monks who fled from the North Africa, i.e. America, during the 5th century in the wake of the Vandal invasions. The Greek and North African inscriptions, Greek caps and book. These items indicate that it is the place of worship of early Christian church. The artifacts illuminated by what? Libyan Arabic texts. So you're saying then that Byzantine monks were speaking Libyan Arabic, which is Mograbian or Berber, or the so-called Berber Libyan Latin. That's what you're saying? Okay. In a remote oasis in eastern Morocco. In 1926, they tell of the voyage undertaken by the North African Christian monks. These are Moors toward the setting sun to the Aqs Shamal, which is another way of saying northern land or the extreme west, right? The northern land, suggestive of North America, right? Who studied the figuring inscriptions during the 1960s, placed the monks' arrival in North America at 480 AD. So you're also then saying that the early Nazarenes were Moors, who you're calling Christians. Okay. You know what I'm saying? It's time to just let the dead bury the dead, and we start to create institutions to redistribute the real information amongst our people, and those people who are eager to get to the bottom and stop set tripping with all of this. Obviously, everybody don't associate or agree with them, so let's not let them do that. Let them be where they want to be. Let them identify with what they want to identify with. Let them go back to Africa and do what they say that they do. Right? Like that's what they should be doing. They should be in Africa doing this. But everybody that speaks this types of Pan Africanism, none of them are in Africa. None of them have gone to Africa. You know what I'm saying? Like none of them is identifying with it. None of them is trying to go back. They're not doing none of this. And again, at the same time, all the Africans is coming here. Africans should be for Africa should be for Africans. It should be. And America should be for the Americans, for the Americans. Because that's what we are. We're not supposed to be putting ourselves under a whole nother continent that we are culturally not the same as. Look, this is from the National Museum of the American Indian. You see this? When you walk in, this is what you see. This right here is called the Egyptian or the Roman keyhole symbol. This is the symbol of the nobility. This is what you would see on the so-called Roman palliaments. And they adopted it from the Carthaginians. And this is not a canoe. This is a Moorish galleon with the five-pointed star on it. So what are they telling you? And it's in copper. And it's copper colored. Like what else do you people need to see, man? This is from an old book called The American Muslim. The American Muslim should not be a stranger to American soil. In our humble opinion, he has been here for a long time. In fact, since the nation was born, it is not claiming to wit too much to say that he presided at its birth. George Washington was a Muslim, alike with the other kindred spirits of the American Revolution. When the peace and the rest came to him at Mount Vernon, he sat beneath the golden crescent, because George Washington's grandfather was a Moor, a French Huguenot who were Moors, named Nicholas Maritou. So when he died under the golden crescent. Why do you think Thomas Jefferson had one of the oldest Qurans in the country? The significant emblem which adored his summer sanctuary. He stood in the highest favor of the Sultan, who showered him with the most gracious economic as well as with the most substantial and beautiful house of the time. Then what does it say here? The United States having unanimously appointed me to the supreme executive authority in this nation. Your Majesty's letter in August 1788, which was the reason for the dissolution of the late government, remained unanswered and has been delivered to me. I have received the letters which your Imperial Majesty has been so kind to write in favor of the United States to the Bashars of Tunis, Tripoli, and Tripoli. Islam? Like, what else are we saying? They didn't call him the American Muslim, did he? No, no, no. Anybody have any questions? Exactly. That's what I'm saying. Trump received the same joint. Look, this ain't Indian, this is Moorish. This was found in old Tapuas. This right here, the nav, this is what the Indians would put on their horses. Where they get it from? They wasn't goldsmiths. What Indians you ever seen these Siberian teepee type Indians? Where was their goldsmithing at? Where was their mining at? Where was any of that at? Everything they got from us, from trading with us. This was the badge of the Al Qaeda, which we're gonna get into next week. I ain't even have time to get into that. But where the term mayor and all of this come from. I got it up on the app now, but we'll get into that. I showed this before, but I'll show it again. Like, why would they call Indian nations barbarous? And how is it that all of the documents that we read about the Moors is about them owning shit, having their own kingdoms, their own empire, and not being forced into slavery? That's why they don't want you to be a Moor. Because then that means you can't be identified as property the way that these other people want you to be. And again, this don't have nothing to do with sovereign citizenship. None of that shit has anything to do with what we talk about. We were sovereign before all of that. However, we are also in a divided state. So that puts us at odds with each other, which then makes the unity aspect of it hard, which then puts us in the degree of mediation. Algonquin, that ain't no anything AL is Moorish. Anything MA is Moorish. Anything BE is Moorish. Like that's all Moorish. Yeah, because that's what they do to Republican type presidents. And Washington was head of the Republic. We already in Africa without being in it. Look, 250 million euro piece of Africa found in the southeastern United States. Large portions may still be discovered. What are you talking about? We already here. So when they say North Africa, they talking about North America. Facts. Like, what is the problem? Why do you niggas have such a victim mentality? Why do niggas have such a slave complex? Why do you hate where you come from so much? Why do you hate the white man so much? Like like Charleston White say, when the white man call you nigga, that means he fear you, he respect you actually. Because if he didn't, he'd be calling you boy, right? We as men, as melanated men in this country, we fought against being called boy, right? But what did they do? They went through the black woman to get the black woman to start calling herself girl, girl this, girl that, right? And then it became what? Boy bye, to get that boy, right? They get her to stop calling us, get her to start calling us boy. You see how they do? We even went from calling each other, yeah, that's my boy, to be like, yo, that's my man. No Diddy. Excuse me, no Drizzy. Right? Look, the featherwork contained a chest, sus- described as a Moorish hat, right? Which belonged to the Thamistan king, right? Lustrous golden-hued feathers bedecked above with white, red, and gold rosettes and ornaments. In the front of its beak was pure gold. The term Moorish, as here, would scarcely be regarded as deceptive in as much as the king of the Themistian and Mexico, the subsequently decreed a Moorish king. In the same inventory in 1596, it's interesting to note that the gradual changes in the wording of the subsequent periodical officially registration of the Moorish hat, so that way by 1613, the faithfully is by 1621, the word Indian was substituted for Moorish. So that's it. That's it. So what I'm saying, more, it's like they just don't want us to be ourselves, man. They always want us to be somebody else. Big up to ancestral adornment. Look at your boy. He got the big You got the beaver feds with the horn. You know what I'm saying? This right here on Montezuma, this was the feathered joint that they were talking about. And then look at the Moorish castles and everything behind him. They wasn't living in teepees. We wasn't living in no damn teepees. We wasn't living in no dirt huts. We wasn't doing that. All of that stuff happened after, man. Way after. One time, this was a joint, a quote, a comment I got from a brother from Africa. He said, Aseer, thank you so much for this presentation. I am an Arab living in the Sudan, and I lived in the continental United States for years. I've also told the blacks there, everyone knows who you are except for you. What are you waiting for? Thank you for your continued efforts. Anyone else that would have suffered in this fashion just 1/5 of time would have risen up by now. We're waiting to see you guys do your thing. Believe me, we're waiting. See that? That's somebody from the continent. From the continent. So you think I care what these niggas over here is talking about that ain't never been nowhere? Come on, man. Like, we got bigger things to do, bigger fish to fry, man. This right here, they say that this says the entrance of Muhammad II, but they're not saying entering where. This is him entering into Islam after taking it over in what they call Constantinople. This is what the old Moors and Moroccan Turks and all of that look like. And over here you got Ben Bey, and under here the dude that you see with the horse. See how the Moor is always in the back, and you put the white ones in the front. But they made Washington always look white. But I don't think he was white. He was more like mulatto. But the French Huguenots were mad dark skinned. So you got Prince Whipple in the red fed, in the red turban, right? In the bottom right. And next to him, you got James Armistead, who was the first American spy in the Revolutionary War. Now, why would a melanated man be a spy for the British if the British that he's spying on ain't melanated? And then above here, you got Ben Bey laying out how Rome was going to be rebuilt at the top. Wasn't no slaves like that. We were enslaved after we became prisoners of war and after our history was redistributed. Then the painting in the middle represents the expulsion. We're going to the other, okay, we done messed that Granada up, so now we're going to go to the Granada over here. We just left one kingdom because we got outsold, because El Zagal sold the kingdom. So we like, all right, that part of the kingdom got shut down. We're going to go to the other Granada. But today, a piece of it broke off, so now we call it Grenada. They want us to hate ourselves. They want us to always identify with being up under somebody or somebody doing us wrong or whatever. So that way we never focus on what we got here, what was left for us here, what is all around us in our face here. So somebody else can come and take over. Somebody else can be that, and now they can live up under them as their slave. Just like Stephen and Django, we've been saying. Stephen working with Clark Candy and Django, low key working together, so he could just brutalize his own people, and then make it seem like it's all because of these white people. No. Anybody have any questions? Look, this was an old bar. They used to have these old bars that the elders would have. My grandmother had this for years, and it was like a glow bar. And when you open it up, that's where you put all of the liquor and everything inside. Little did I know, all of them years, this was a whole map of the Moorish occupation and the Moorish joint here in America. Look what's right at the bottom, right in the middle. What that say? Grenada, right? Then right under that, what do you see? Hispania, Spain, right? Spain, right? Right there. My whole life growing up, looking at this thing, playing in it, opening it, wasn't until years later, getting on itself, realized, oh, this is a septentrional map. And look at it right in the middle, right there is Grenada. Come on, man. And mad people had this. I would go to mad people's houses. You know, you go to your house, go to different parents' houses with their friends and shit, and they go and drinking and shit, and you just notice mad people I seen had this. I wish I still had it, but when I moved from Brooklyn out here, I had to get rid of it. But yeah, this is right in the face. This is right here in Grenada. So how y'all gonna explain this away? How you gonna explain that Grenada and Spain is in the same place in what is now the Gulf of Mexico in Texas? So in the annexation of Texas, when we read that north of the Nucas and the Bravos River, west of that is the land of the Moorish, the ancient Mauritanians and the Moorish peoples, right? Check to see if you still got it, sis. And if so, send me a picture. Definitely got to hold on to that. Yep. Anybody else have any questions? By the way, this is Sultan Abdul Aziz. For y'all don't, for those people don't know, there's like more than one of them. So the one that wound up in the Circle Seven Quran, they say that that's the real one, but this is the one that in my research I found, and he seemed more Moroccan than the one he's saying. Big up to him, big up to the prophet. Just make more sense. Anybody have any questions? Any more questions?
Yes, yes, Islam. Yep, the gathering of master joints right outside of Mount Arabia. You know what I'm saying? So that's gonna be dope. From what I'm hearing, it's sold out already, which is crazy. So inshallah, see the people there. Inshallah. Yeah, here you go again. See, Grenada, Hispania, Morocco. And this Morocco picture is from a CIA document. Try to get this book if you can. And this is how you write more in old Phoenician. Or Phoenibu, call it that. This was also a Moorish from a Moorish from old Germany, old Germania. And this right here, I've done a class on this by itself. It's called the Golden Bull. This is what all of the Moorish rulers from the Habsburgs to the Wappenheim, what they call the Pappenheim, Westphalia, the Holy Roman Empire. In order for them to be crowned, they had to be crowned under this, under the Golden Bull. Still there, waiting for somebody new to be crowned. Because again, it's showing rulership over the four corners: America, Europe, Asia, and Africa. And again, this painting is a painting of a German woman. So how are they going to explain that? So definitely check out brother Sheikh Umaga, PNF Research. Um, PNF Research, Brother Paris, the Moors in America, Sacred Grove, and any of the Moors I'm forgetting that's putting in the work, man. Definitely want to support them. Keeping our foot on their neck. And what's truth don't need no reply. Truth don't need no alibi. Anybody have any questions? Oh, this last thing, man. Show them this. I was just reading an article by Brian Wilkes, a Cherokee language instructor, concerning that the Cherokee-Berber connection. Here's the excerpt, and perhaps something to think about if Cherokee mixed blood, considering DNA testing. Old Cherokee migration legends suggest that the ancient connection of the Berbers of North Africa, Morocco. The Berbers are a tribal people of the lands that once stretched from where? Mauritania to the Atlantic Ocean, to Libya on the Mediterranean Sea, related to the Phoenicians and the Carthaginians. Boom. Boom. And they trying to hide your books now. So, all right, some of us still got them. We'll get them back to circulation. Anybody else have any questions? Okay, so definitely, please, if you can, check out AseerTheDucateers.com. Definitely, you can get all of the links and stuff I was talking about on Blog Talk Radio is still there. Definitely check that out. Also, if you can, please check out the ADOT app. We just went through some reconstruction with it so I can get the live join on. So if you had issues, don't worry, it's being resolved. It's playing great on Android now. It's a little bit choppy on the Apple, but that should be done hopefully by this week. And like I said, I'm gonna be able to start doing lives and everything like that. I'm gonna be doing interviews with other nobles that's doing the work, like some of the ones that we built on earlier. So please check that out. Got some new content in the documents and article section. So definitely check that. And like I said, the videos will be playing. If they have been playing, they're gonna be playing back again real soon. It's definitely up on Android though. And Apple should be done again for this week. So please bear with me. Thank you guys for your patience with that. Definitely check that out. Please also, if you can, support Mechanics.com. I appreciate it. We've definitely been doing work stuff now as we speak. And again, I couldn't do it without her. And again, with all these fake products and shit out, we definitely want to support and get real stuff to help preserve and not destroy. And then lastly, if you can, definitely can get it through www.citytv2.com. Check out the Dark Spoke 418. I got a follow-up joint coming out soon with a great character who you guys are gonna love. And yeah, man, just striving to just keep it going. Thank you guys for the $30 to unsigned capital PS418.com through Cash App, as well as through PayPal, ducateers@gmail.com. I really appreciate it. And yeah, man, if you guys have any questions about this or any procedural stuff, definitely hit me up at hotmail.com. And yeah, man, anything else, like I said, just hit me up there. And again, anything that was shown in this section or this video was definitely done under fair use, educational, and so-called entertainment purposes. And yeah, man, don't catch a pros and swine. Don't try to shine light on the blind. It's not going to do anything but waste your time. You know what I mean? And let niggas hate if that's what they want to do. Don't let them goad you into stuff that you really benefit from. And that's most of the discourse today. Real people going to want to deal with you on equality and will contact you as men deal with you directly as opposed to trying to bring you into some sort of amphitheater or some gladiatorial display to give them more clout. You know what I'm saying? So again, we don't want to debate be mistaken. So again, long live the empire, Roman wars, the colonial mount, Lord of us, Pax et amor, nobles, is the movement, is amazing. Honest to the prophet, honest to everybody that's been doing the work, man. You know what I'm saying? Peace. Thank you, brother Aseer. I appreciate it.